Welcome back to the Imaginary Gallery. It's TJ, your host. And we are still reviewing the David Burns MD book, Feeling Good. We're not really reviewing it, but we've come to the last of the 10 cognitive distortions which he mentions. The last one is called Personalization. And according to Dr. Burns, this distortion is the mother of guilt. You assume responsibility for a negative, even when there's no basis for doing so. You arbitrarily conclude that whatever happened was your fault or reflects your inadequacy, even when you were not even responsible for it. For example, when one of his patients did not complete an exercise he had given her, which was designed to measure some type of mood or some type of thing, well, the patient did not do the assignment. Well, Dr. Burns, felt guilty about this, because it made him think that he must not be that great of a therapist if he assigned this project and the patient didn't even take the time to do it. And he will tell himself, it's my fault she's not working harder to help herself. It's my responsibility to make sure that she gets well. So that's one example. Another one he gives would be a mother. Somebody's mother sees her daughter's report card, and there's a note in it from the teacher that says, your daughter's not doing so well. Well, the mother immediately might think, oh my goodness, I must be a horrible mother. See what we're talking about here? She's blaming herself for being a horrible mother because her daughter is not doing so well. Never occurs to her that maybe the daughter needs a little help, or maybe something's going on with the daughter. The mother just feels it's her fault because she's the mother, so she's to blame. She'll think, this proves I've failed as a mother. Personalization causes you to feel a crippling sense of guilt. You'll suffer from a paralyzing and burdensome sense of responsibility that forces you to carry the whole world on your shoulders. You have confused influence with control over others. In your role as, let's say, a teacher, counselor, parent, doctor, salesman, executive, you'll certainly influence the people you interact with. But no one could reasonably expect you to actually control them. What the other person does is ultimately his or her responsibility, not yours. There are methods in his book here. In the back of the book, he says, that'll help you overcome your tendency to personalize things and to trim your sense of responsibility down to a manageable, realistic proportion. So I do recommend the book, because that's not something I or anybody can read to you. You need to read it for yourself, like I did. It's got little exercises in it where you read about these distortions, and then you think about your own situation, and then it's miraculous how you can take your own situation and see exactly which distortion or distortions you're using, and it kind of helps you give yourself a break sometimes, because when you're feeling these things, you're not really thinking critically about what you're feeling and how you're feeling it. You're just feeling it. So his little booklet here is to kind of like allow you to self-reflect and say, wait a second, you're all upset because of you applied to get in that band and they didn't choose you. So now you think you're a failure and you're never going to be in a band again. Maybe a better band's waiting around the corner, and if you would have picked this one, you would have missed out. Or maybe they already had somebody picked out. I mean, many different things could be, but with these distortions, we're thinking, I must be a terrible drummer. They would have picked me if I wasn't, which is not the way it always works. But he also says that the 10 forms of the cognitive distortions cause many, if not all, of your depressed states. They are summarized in a table on a certain page. He says to study this table and master these concepts. Try to become familiar with them as you would with your phone number. He says to refer to the table over and over again as you learn about the various methods for mood modification. When you become familiar with the 10 forms of distortion, you will benefit from this knowledge all of your life. Well, I said something like that. Once you read this book, it sticks with you forever. And as we will cover later, I discovered something else that this book does, or can do, or did do, or does do. But again, that's the surprise that I've been mentioning or hinting at, just trying to figure out how to exactly convey it. But that's on the way. And he gives you a self-assessment quiz that it's designed to help you test and strengthen your understanding of the 10 distortions. And as you basically read each of the following brief vignettes, you're imagining that you are the person being described and circling your answers, which will indicate the different distortions and the negative thoughts. And he'll explain the answer to the questions, the first question, and then there's an answer key at the end of the chapter. But he says, do not look ahead. He's certain you'll be able to identify at least one distortion in the first question, and that will be a start. So then it goes through a whole list. So that is it for the number 10. I imagine the secret mystery or thing that I haven't quite figured how to present will appear in a subsequent bonus extra episode. But in the meantime, remember, you're not in control of everyone. Keep that in mind. If your daughter fails her test, maybe she just needs some assistance. But it is not your fault. Peace!
Would you please stop telling people that I'm a lesbian? That was a phase, and it is ruining my future. So keep your mouth shut, or I'm gonna shut it for you.
Besides, you need to give me a break. You don't know a thing about me, really. I know you think you do, but you don't. Believe me. If you saw me with any of my other people, you wouldn't even recognize me. So do me a favor. Just forget we ever met. If you do as I say, you may find yourself rich one day. And I'm warning you, if you cause any problems for me, you will pay. Yes, you will. And you won't win, so don't even try.
I am the